Welcome everyone, this is Andrea, the founder of the Global Empowerment Hub and Summits and the Global Empowerment Society. This is a community where we are helping people to transfer with digital knowledge, with tools, with resources, with building a strong core, with building impact, and with getting a global network. This is our podcast bringing back all the different panel discussion sessions and value that we are collecting in since the last 4 years, organizing this summit as a compassion project. And today you can listen to our first looking back session about business taboos. So I wish you to enjoy this insightful session. Make notes, listen to it 1 or 2 times according to how you digest information, ask questions, give me feedbacks how you like these replays, and I wish you an insightful session with a lot of learnings by your esteemed panel. And we will be coming back monthly with 1 session that we will be sharing with you on this podcast. Hope you will enjoy it. We have more than 500 plus hours to share with you so that you can get more value and so that we can empower more people and you can empower more people after gaining and digesting the knowledge and implementing it. So see you and enjoy this session.
All right. Good afternoon to all our viewers from around the world. We are here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. My name is Aria, and welcome to the Global Women Empowerment Summit. And today, our topic for this afternoon is on business taboo. Yes, a very, very powerful topic where we hope to ask the questions that not many people will ask or answer. With me, I have a very esteemed panel. I'll start off with Tahir Hussain, who is the founder of the Unstoppable Millionaire Academy. Next, we have Faridah Hameed, Master Facilitator, faridahhameed.com. And last but not least, we have Jimmy Lee, entrepreneur, mentor, investor, and humanitarian. Now, before we dive into the topic at hand, I'm sure our viewers like to know your story. So I'd like to know your claim to fame. Tahir, you go first.
Well, a delight and a pleasure being here, Raj. Thank you very much. So I started at an early age of 17, wanted to go to America to study. Parents didn't have enough money, so went out and started my business. Started teaching people how to build websites back in 1999. Turned that into $1 million business when I was 21 years old. Went to America, graduated, came back, went into real estate, made it big. Made my first $1 million at the age of 27 when I was doing real estate back in Dubai. That's where I come from. And then right with that, we had the financial crisis. We go negative $20 million. Ouch, that hurts. And then that gave me basically where I am today, the purpose of life, the purpose of giving, what that all stands for. Bounced back up and just made it big all the way. And here we are as the founder of the Unstoppable Millionaire Academy, empowering lives across the world in different countries. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, life is about up and down, even in the business world. We'll touch that a bit more shortly. Jimmy, you're next.
All right. My name is Jimmy Lee. I've been an entrepreneur for 18 years now. Graduated in law, but did not practice. So just started straight into startups and everything like that. So I have 4 startups by far. And my claim to fame, as Raj would call it, would be the fact that started my first startup with no capital, with no experience, with no contacts. And within 4 years, we made a multi-million company. And the following 2 years, I lost everything. I became like penniless, because it was like at the top of the mountain. I was a millionaire before 30. Then I lost everything subsequently within 2 years because of corporate sabotage. And but I did not give up, so keep on moving forward. And now my startup, Foodie Box Group, we are raising millions at the moment, and we are actually in line for funding to be the next unicorn in Southeast Asia.
Wow, I like that ambition, unicorn. That's the way to go. And we can see similarity here between Tahir and Jimmy. The rise to the top, come crashing down, but it's what you do next is to climb back to the top again. And of course, last but not least, the rose among the thorns. We have Faridah here.
Hi, Raj. Hi, everyone. Wherever you're dialing in from, welcome to our session. My name is Faridah. So I don't know if I'd say I have a claim to fame, but what I would like to say is that it's something that a lot of women can relate to. I was one of those people who was terrified of public speaking years and years ago. So I went from that to being able to speak to hundreds and thousands of people from all over the world. So now I've spoken to people from over 50 countries, over 4 continents. What do I do? I'm a conscious communication coach. What that means is I take people from compulsive communication to becoming conscious of how they communicate so that they can have the results that they want either at work or in their life.
Right, fantastic, Farida. Okay, so guys, the first question, two of you are very much immersed in the business world, as we can see over the past 2 decades. So Tahir, perhaps you could start off as well. You have exposed yourself in the business world in the Americas, in the Middle East, now you're in this side of Asia as well. So how has the world changed from an entrepreneurship perspective from when you started out in 20 years ago to where you are today?
So there are so many things that have changed in the business and the entrepreneurship world. For example, 20 years ago, entrepreneurship was not a cool word. If you are an academic student who wants to become, like in my case, a software engineer, and you would say, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, most people wouldn't say, wow, that's cool, because the social media didn't exist. So that's what I felt. So it was a constant struggle of proving everyone wrong, because at least in the background or the context where I came from, because business was not the best thing to do or to start with, especially if you've not even graduated. So coming from that arena, fast forward 2 decades, today we have got teenagers who are entrepreneurs, and they are having all these ideas, and technology has allowed us to basically go through that real quick. So that's just one aspect of how technology has turned entrepreneurship from something that probably wasn't as cool, and it sounds a lot cooler today.
Right, right. So yeah, we can see that things have changed considerably over the last 2 decades, and now, yes, now we know that even people in school are already going to business. And I think that the word that a lot of people use, they are all engaged in startups. And I think Jimmy would have more hands-on experience given the fact that you have 4 startups right now. So how do you get immersed in entrepreneurship way back then?
Well, basically, Raj, my story is quite simple. I mean, I studied law, I graduated in law. But the thing is the fact that after I graduated in law, then I realized that the reality is very different from your dreams and what you were envisioned. Because the whole reason why I practiced law was actually to help people as a form of social justice. And then I realized that the saying of the law is blind is actually literally like law is blind, you know?
Yep.
So basically what I did was I was a bit disillusioned with the law practice. So I decided to join the startup world because a friend of mine invited me to be part of his company. It's a video production company. So, I mean, I was immersed in the whole process and everything like that. So basically, I kind of love the whole process. So I started my own startup, Motion Effect Studio, which is the first startup of mine, with no capital. It was just like a law student with no contacts, with no experience and stuff like that. So we built it up from there into a multi-million business before we got like a huge government project. It was a huge tender from Bank Negara Malaysia. And then, well, as you can see, you know, it was a very small company and we won the tender against 60 other companies. So that
Well
was,
done.
that was my first victory. And I told myself, okay, this is possible, anything is possible. So my story is the fact that right after that, then we were doing so well. I became a millionaire before 30 years old, at least on paper, at least. And then coming back to the subject of what they call that business taboo, what happened to me after that was the fact that I was sabotaged because we had like 3 business partners, the 3 of us. And one day I was called for a secret meeting with this one partner of mine. And what he proposed was the fact that, well, we have about, the project has gone up to about 4.5 million and we get about 1.5 million each. So he proposed to me the fact that why not we get rid of the third partner so that we each can get about $2.25 million each. So it was like, okay, it was a rather surprise, you know. I wasn't expecting this because we're doing so well as a group, you know, and basically, and it didn't take a long time, Raj. What I did was I just decided then that I'm not going to accept that kind of proposal, and I told them that let's just we started with 3 partners, let's end the project with 3 partners, let's stick to whatever we agreed upon, 1.5
Yep.
million. And as I told them, it's a lot of money, it's enough for my company, it's enough for me, you know. So Raj, unfortunately, what happened was I was booted up from the project myself, my
Okay.
company. I was booted up from the project and I lost everything, and I couldn't even collect my payment from the project and stuff like that. And it was a terrible time. In 2 years, I couldn't afford anything. I had to close down my business. I had to close down my company. Even my office was repossessed. You know, there was a writ of seizure. Shah Alam High Court came by with the court bailiff and they actually seized all the properties and stuff like that. Yeah, so that was a terrible, like a fall. You know, it's like you're on a millionaire, right, at one point,
Yep.
and then the next thing you know, you can't even afford a meal. You know, so my life took a turning point in the fact that I was invited for a meeting with a friend of a friend. All right, I don't know his name, I don't know who he is, but a friend of mine said, "What do you mean of this guy? Maybe he has something. He can work out a deal or something like." So I met up with him at Starbucks, and when I sat down with him, the first question he asked me was a very practical question, which is, "How's the business going?" So I find myself in a dilemma, all right? Okay. I mean, I was honest and I decided not to betray my business partners and I got booted out. Here I am with a prospective business opportunity. Should I tell him the truth or should I lie to him and say, "Oh, okay, bro, everything's okay. Don't worry about it. Business is doing fantastic. I got this multi-million project and stuff like that." So it took like about half a minute for me to think what I'm going to say to that one question, as you can imagine. But I told him the truth and everything like that. So I just told him what happened to me and everything like that. And to be honest, I told myself, okay, I think this is it. I think he's going to say, "Okay, bro, I'm so sorry to hear what happened to you. Maybe we'll meet again when you are in a better shape, you know, because you don't have an office. Your office is got repossessed by the Shah Alam High Court and stuff like that." I was getting ready to leave, and surprisingly, he just said that, "Okay, hold on, all right, don't leave yet, okay." He wrote down his house address on a napkin, on Starbucks napkin, and he was just telling me that, "Come over to my house, all right? I'll have a proposal for you." And I was like, "Okay, this is strange, you know, why am I going to his house, right?" So, I mean, I consulted my business partner and everything like that, and she said that perhaps it's a loan shark, you know, maybe he's going to give you an offer and stuff like that. And I said to her, I mean, can't be a loan shark, right? I mean, I just told him I have no money. I mean, practically, I told him that I have only about 10 ringgit in my pocket, and that's basically it. That's my budget for the whole week was 10 ringgit, you know. So I said, okay, let's just go to the house. Let's see what he has to offer. So I went to his house, sat down with him, and then basically he asked me, okay, Jimmy, you told me this afternoon that you need about a certain amount of money, right, to clear your lawsuit and stuff like that and stuff like that. So he asked me, okay, how much do you actually need, you know? So I need about 29,000 ringgit, you know. So, and I have about 2 weeks to raise the money. If not, the court will actually auction off the properties in my office. So he made me a proposal, a crazy proposal. He just told me that, okay, Jimmy, I'm not going to give you the money that you need, the 29,000 ringgit. Oh, I was like, okay, all right. I'm not getting the money, all right. And then he said, "I'm going to give you 40,000 ringgit. I'm like, whoa, okay. I was like, okay, 40,000 is more than what I needed. You know, I was like,
What's the catch?
I was like, okay, what's the catch? What was the deal like? Are you investing to my business? This a loan, you know? What's this, you know? And he just said to me, okay, I'm going to give you 40,000 ringgit, provided if you can answer a riddle. And that's it. No strings attached. I'm like, okay, you don't get that kind of offer. No. So I just asked him the riddle and everything like that. He gave me the riddle. So I went back home, I discussed with my business partner, and then she was a bit skeptical. She said that, "You just met this guy in Starbucks, right? It was just like less than 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And he said he's going to give you 40,000 again." And she said, I don't think it's true. I don't think it's genuine and everything. I think it's just, you know, maybe he's just playing you along. So I mean, Raj, you got nothing to lose, you know, you're at the bottom of the pit, you know, you have to find...
Why not?
Why not, right? Just try, right? So this is way back in like 2008, so there's no WhatsApp, whatever. So it's just messaging on the phone. So I still remember for 2 weeks, I was trying to find the answer to the riddle. I was trying to crack my head. It's like...
What was the riddle?
He just asked me this riddle. What does people like Muhammad Gandhi, Jasmine Ahmad, and Steve Jobs have in common? All right?
Okay.
So I came up with answers like they're enlightened people, they're talented people, you know, they're like game changers. I couldn't. All the answers were wrong, you know. So to cut the story short, what happened to me was I was watching Astro. This is like I got 2 days, you know, left on my deadline to come out with the money. I was watching Astro. It was actually a cartoon show. It was of the most, you know, the most low level kind of show that you can actually imagine. And I found the answer in the cartoon show. Of all things. In the cartoon show, of all things in the world.
Which cartoon?
I can't tell you. I can't tell you. A lot of people, when I mention the cartoon, it's, "Oh, I know the answer," and the kind of thing. So I won't tell you which cartoon. So it was a cartoon show. I found the answer. The next day, I had a meeting, and then after that, I texted him. You know, I was like, keeping my fingers crossed, you know, everything like that. It was a very simple answer. It was not like life changing kind of answer. It was just a very simple answer. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand why he didn't answer my SMS for like 15 minutes, you know. So because the other previous attempts, it's like less than 5 minutes to give me an answer. This one's 15 minutes. So I was like, okay. So he answered me. He didn't say yes or no though. He just said that meet me up at Coffee Bean at Mont Kiara. I was like, okay. At 3 o'clock, I was like, okay, this is very vague, you know. So I went at the Coffee Bean. I was there by 2:30, obviously really excited and stuff like that. So I was thinking to myself, is it going to turn up? Is it not going to turn up? Is it going to be a joke? Is it going to be like, it's April Fool kind of thing, you know? So he turned out at 3 o'clock, which is a good thing. And when I still remember in my mind what happened because he was crossing the road. And I saw the checkbook at the back of his back pocket, jeans. So I saw the checkbook. Okay, that checkbook is a very good, positive indication of what's about to happen. Sat down, and I asked him, bro, did I get the right answer? He said, yes, you got the right answer. I'm going to write you a check right now. I don't know your name and full name, so just get me a cash check, and that's it, 40,000 ringgit. And then he just said, don't give up entrepreneurship, keep moving forward, pay out whatever you need to pay. The 11,000, use it to seed money for your next big idea and stuff like that. And just left. That's it, you know. Wow. And that was it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
amazing. Yeah. Faridah, since you are in communications, for example, now what Jimmy has mentioned just now is a very interesting situation where does he choose to communicate the truth, or does he tell a white lie? Does he tell a blatant lie? Massage the story and all that kind of thing. So in that context, what do you do in the business world, or even in your relationships and all that? How far do you go about communicating that story? You know, you hear white lies, you hear things, I will say something, but I'll leave out the important part that's not said. You know, there are many ways to communicate a message, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, communication, the basis of that is to be honest. Because I think when you're dishonest, it's very hard to keep track of the lies that you have created. And then it's very hard to keep the story in line. So my first advice would be as honest as you can. Now, part of storytelling is to actually highlight the salient points of that story. Now, when you say something like it's a white lie is very, very subjective, because sometimes you use a white lie because you don't want to go into all the details. Sometimes you use a white lie because you don't want to hurt the person in front of you. Often in relationships, it's like that. So a white lie to me is a bit of a gray area. I think you have to go with your value system. And as long as you are not blatantly changing the story so that you don't get in trouble, I think that's okay. I think in business, particularly from even my perspective, when I started business, it was a bit scary to tell people that, you know, I was a one-man show, one-woman show. Because, you know, you're going to big companies and they're asking like, okay, where's your office? How many staff do you have? Those kinds of things. But what I've learned over the years is I've just become really comfortable to tell people, yes, I'm a solopreneur. I love it because it's a lifestyle for me. And I just want to make this last point. A lot of women will be able to relate with this, because when you hear generally the entrepreneurship story of men, it's often quite different from the entrepreneurship story of women, particularly women who are past 40, because we go into business after about 20 years of corporate career, and we don't want to have the hustle and the bustle. We actually want things to quiet down, and we just want to focus on the things that we like to do.
Right. I mean, that's a very good point. And the point of view from a women entrepreneur and the difficulties they face and business taboos, we're going to touch a bit more on that. I want to come back to Tahir. Now, obviously, you've been in various business. You mentioned about real estate in when you're back home in Dubai. Now, here's the thing. When you're trying to close a sale, and I'm sure you have many big opportunities for big sales. Now, there's some subjectivity in terms of, how do you say, stretching the truth or creative exuberance in terms of closing the deal. Where did you draw the line on a personal level in order to close that sale?
Well, great question, Raj, and I'll quickly comment on what Faridah said about white lie, and then transition into your question. In business, the gray area where you can get away with the white lies is all right, as long as that white lie doesn't mean like you're going bankrupt and you're like, no, everything is good. So that's not a white lie. So that's like a complete opposite impression, fake, wrong, immoral, that you're giving to whoever you're actually giving that to, right? So whether it's your business partner, relating to Jimmy's story, or otherwise, right? So that's number one about my take on white lie. And coming back to your question, what do you tell them? So one of the reasons, one of the things I teach about sales and marketing is not only do you talk about all
Yeah.
the amazing stuff your product, service, real estate has, but we live in a world today where through the tip of a
Yeah.
finger, you can literally Google anything you want, literally. So why would you not tell the not so good stuff? So you could come up with 50 things that are really great and 5 or 10 things, in all honesty, that may not be the best thing that that particular person wants. Because keep in mind, the idea is that they can let go of those bad things if they
Yeah.
don't care about it. Like for example, in Dubai, uh, you can get away with price, but view matters in a property because it's a desert, right, by nature. But if you have a lake view or a beach view or a garden view or a golf view, it's a big deal. So that's just to answer your question, right? Yeah.
Right.
Can I jump
Fantastic.
in, Raj? Can I jump in?
Please.
Yeah, because I just had another thought. I think social media is fertile ground for people misrepresenting themselves.
Yep.
And I've written quite a bit on that on LinkedIn, where I'm very active. And I think we have to be very careful because, like Tahir said, everything can be Googled, everything
Yep.
can be checked. And I think where you stretch the truth about what you can do and who you are, a lot of people may not check. But I come back to this idea that the persona that you paint about who you are on social media, to me, it's a legacy. It's going to be there for a long time. And I
Yep.
think a lot of people, what is the word for it? They sort of make it more than it is because they're trying to get the credibility, they're trying to get the
Yep.
visibility, and they're also trying to get projects. But I think it's a dangerous game to play when you overstretch your
Yep.
abilities and who you are. So I think people just have to be very careful on social media. Nothing wrong with being honest. Honest is good because then when you build up your credibility, you can substantiate it.
Yep. Yeah, well said. I mean, you're looking at business as in terms of a long game rather than a quick hit and run where it could affect your reputation, credibility, and that's right. The rest of your business career is gone. Jimmy, just before you add on those viewers, I'm also throwing you a question. You're very
Right.
much in the startup space, so
Right.
obviously startups at the very beginning, before you have your proof of concept, everything is based on ideas, creativity, and projections and plans, because that's what you're going to put forward to your investors, be it angel investors, equities, funds, and all that kind of thing. So, how far do you embellish in terms of your projections? Because if your projections aren't sexy enough, it's not going to get the attention. But if you put it too conservatively, it's not going to excite them as well. So, where do you draw the line there?
Okay, Raj, before I go to that question, I think I'll answer this question from one of the people who's watching this video, Sha Wu. This person have typed there, okay, for all newbies who are unsure of what it takes, what have they developed entrepreneurial spirit, what does one do? Okay, to be an entrepreneur, you're new to this, the first thing you need to do is, one, you need to have passion in what you do. That's the most important thing, because entrepreneurship is about 24/7, and it has to be something you're very passionate about. If you're not passionate about that particular thing, don't do it, all right? A good example would be, I was telling the story about the fact that I went from a video production company and then I jumped into food industry. It was a huge leap. Why food industry is because, first, I love to eat and I love the food industry. I like going to cafes and restaurants. And my business partner, she's a cook at home, all right? So basically, it was a passion that developed. And the next thing we need to do is actually, what's the next big idea, all right? And the next big idea has to be something that will solve a problem. Don't start a startup with just for the sake of just starting a startup. You need to address a particular issue and a problem, all right? That's the first question you need to ask. What is your next big idea, and does it address a problem or an issue that people are facing? And the second question you need to ask yourself is this: affordability. Is your product or services affordable? All right, and that's the most important thing. And the third that you need to relate on is the fact that how can you relate to the market that you're servicing? These are all the core issues you need to address before we can have a startup. If you are new to the startup, the first thing you need to do is you need to have passion in what you're doing. If you're just doing for the money, don't do it. All right, don't do it, because like what Steve Jobs said, it's all about living yourself, about moving forward with what you believe in. So if you don't have the passion, don't do it. If you have the passion, then you need to find out what's the next big idea and make sure you address a particular problem and issue. And you need to make sure it's affordable, and also it has how it relates to the market. All right. In terms of the question to ask Raj question, we can do projections and stuff like that, but the most important thing is you have to be really, really accurate. Because investors these days are very smart. They are not. They don't take your value for it. Because I also evaluate a lot of proposals these days because I've been doing a bit of investment here and there. And true as what Raj said, a lot of our startups embellish their projections. Yeah. And you'll be surprised that I've come across proposals whereby the ideas are not solid or the ideas are just not there. And when you do a research on because as Faridah's point, it's the age of social media. I can just Google you. I can just do a certain link. I can find out what the heck you're doing. And you'd be surprised there's a new trend coming up these days in the startup world. It's called fake it till you make it. All right. These are people who fake their character, they fake the proposals, and they just come forward to you and say, okay, Jimmy, I want $10 million to develop this business. And then you Google it and you say, okay, this guy is not genuine. I'll give you a perfect example. There was a guy that came up to me and said, hey, Jimmy, I need $100 million to start up this new business. All right. And I said to him, all right, cool. Where's your proposal, man? I don't have a proposal. And I said, okay, you don't have a proposal. What's your idea? It's a clothing store. All right. Details? That's it. It's a clothing store using my brand. I'm like, it's your brand. All right. And I look at his followers on his connections on LinkedIn, 38 LinkedIn connections. Okay. What's your personal brand? Clothing store. And I said, so and so, I can't evaluate your proposal because you don't have a proposal, you don't have projections, you don't have financials. All you say is it's an online clothing store on your brand, and you have 38 connections on LinkedIn. So obviously you don't have a brand, And I said, how am I going to invest? And he said, Raj, this is in verbatim what he said to me, right? Raj,
yeah.
You just have to trust me, I'll do a good job.
You can give me 10 million and you can trust me.
I'm like, is this guy for real? $10 million? And
amazing. You meet all kinds. Faridah, I want to ask you, coming back to women now, in the past, we have situations where women obviously have faced a lot of difficulties in terms of glass ceiling, in equal income, for example, with men. Then there's also the notion that they are not suited for leadership roles because at some point they're looking in terms of starting a family, having kids, and there'll be disruption to the corporate side of things. So from your perspective as a woman, how do you address this? Although it's been changing, but of course we haven't reached the stage where we want it to be.
Well, I'm not a feminist. What I believe, however, is that women go through stages in their lives. And we have to understand that this whole concept of equality is something that I'm uncomfortable with the word equality. I think what we are looking for is balance. That's the first point I would like to make. Balance in terms of priorities at different life stages. So in your 20s, you work long hours. In your 30s, you're thinking about starting a family. In your 40s, you're more senior. In your 50s, maybe you're thinking of retiring. So that's the first point I'd like to make. In terms of the glass ceiling, I started my working career at a time when there was no training about leadership, there was no coaching. It didn't exist in the 1980s. But I think it was great that I started my career at that time because I didn't have an excuse and I didn't get a chance to say, there's a big glass ceiling. That phrase did not even exist when I started work. So all we did was we just got on with it. And I was lucky because in my case, I had some amazing male bosses who pushed me up the promotion, the career ladder, and gave me opportunities even at a time when I thought I wasn't ready for it. So for that, I'm very thankful. And throughout my whole career, I always had people who believed in me long before I believed in myself. So they gave me those opportunities. So my advice to a lot of the women who are listening in is that don't get caught up in this idea of the glass ceiling, inequality and all that. Just do your job really well, but also ask for opportunities, because this is where I find the biggest problem with women, the comparison between men and women. Men will ask if they want an opportunity. They'll go after it. Women will sit there and overanalyze and get analysis paralysis about whether they are ready for it. And then they've got 100 reasons why they can't do it. Like, I can't because, I've got a child. I can't because I have to work again. Don't worry about all that. Just ask for the opportunity first. Once you've been given the opportunity, then you learn to negotiate. what it is that you are able to do. Because as you move up the career ladder, it is not about you sitting there from 9 to 10 at night and looking at the details. The higher up you go, the bigger 360-degree view that you're being paid for. So that is something women have to realize.
Yep. Very, very good point. I guess at the end of the day, you should let your work speak for yourself. If you're competent, you're capable, and you're able to do the job, then it doesn't matter whether you're a woman, a man, young or old, or whatever the circumstances, then you should get it on merit. Now Tahir, you obviously have made your money in the West, in the US, and obviously in Asia side now. But we can see there's a distinctive difference in culture. In the West, probably it's more black and white. Whereas in Asia, certain things you need to, facilitate the process. So one thing, as we were chatting about before this started, is like, for example, facilitation fee. Oh, you need to pay something to get things to move faster, to get this license in order to get that project. In some cases, it is not blatantly illegal. It could be a bit of a gray area, but in the West, outright, it's a big no-no. So from your perspective, where do you see this happening?
And here's the thing. So I'll give you two extremes, right? So I'll start with President Donald Trump. So can a president of a country be running the Trump enterprise?
Conflict of interest,
That's a good debate question.
Yep.
And we'll find out what the Supreme Court decides if it ever reaches there, right? From a legal standpoint, because it has never happened in the history of the country where a billionaire made it. So that's one extreme. The other extreme is, like, let's take Malaysia as an example. Would you, as a government employee, in your capacity, hold on to certain projects and approvals? And this is a very sensitive topic, and I'm happy I could talk about it as a foreigner living here. Would it be considered right or wrong? And I feel it's unethical. I feel it's absolutely wrong. So that's another perspective. Now, I'll give you one more perspective, and then we can debate about that. The third one is entrepreneurship. So I've got so many of people from health spas to businesses to literally so much of work that they do. So I would be like, as an entrepreneur, if I'm going to get involved in something, and if my time gets involved, then there has to be a fee for it as an entrepreneur. Not if I'm the president of a country, not if I'm a government employee, because then it starts getting into an area where it becomes unethical, corruption kicks in, and then we know the course of some of the third world countries that nothing moves without paying the money under the table. However, as an entrepreneur, I feel I'm extremely shameless when it comes to the referral fee. It's absolutely clear, something I run in the Unstoppable Academy, where any of my students are more than welcome to refer other clients if they found value in what the brand offers. And by all means, they should get a cut of what happens within their network. So that's my take on what you just asked.
That in that context, I guess it makes a lot of sense, because your value that you're bringing to is your network. You have taken a lot of time to build that up. If someone comes to you, you're able to facilitate and connect both, then obviously you have added value. Otherwise, without you, it wouldn't have taken place in the first place. And you should get something out of that. Now, Jimmy, you mentioned F&B. Was yours like a traditional brick and mortar kind of restaurant? Is it?
No, as you said, we started with actually no budget, because, like I said, I mean, we were just operating from home. My business partner, she does all the cooking and then do all the delivery. So this is way before Food Panda or Grab, whatever. So we were like among the first people who started delivering food to houses and stuff like that. So just started from home. That's it, with no capital as we know. That's what we started.
Right. Now the question which you mentioned, sorry, the thing that you mentioned earlier, you got the big government project way back for the first one.
Right.
Unfortunately, before the corporate sabotage and things like that. So in those kind of situations, were you approached by agencies or lobbyists or third parties who will say, look, if you engage us, we'll be able to get you that contract, and under those guys. But we know that's a very gray area, because it could be corruption, it could be you giving a bribe. So have you been in that situation in respect to that, or in all your subsequent businesses?
Well, basically, I mean, I've not gone into that kind of situation before. As I mean, it's a tender process. You just fill out the form, and then you go directly to the government side, and they'll process it. So I have not been approached before for such things, but I have heard it's quite common within the film industry. I know I've heard a lot of rumors going around whereby they call it the grantpreneurs. Basically, it's an entrepreneur that goes on
Grantpreneurs,
grants,
yes.
grantpreneurs, so
Yes.
they don't work
Yeah.
on projects; they just go for grants, So, and I've heard a lot of rumors whereby, I mean, they are like company that gets grants for producing documentaries or films, and they don't even have any experience and stuff like that. They're just going for grants and stuff like that. So I've heard rumors such as this, lah. For me personally, I've not dealt with it. For me, it's basically, as I said before, integrity is very important to me, and so that's the foundation of how I do business. Because what Raj simply said, I mean, I believe in karma in business. All right, you give good karma out, you
Yep.
get your returns and karma out and stuff like that. I may have lost everything back in like I was sabotaged and stuff like that. I lost everything stuff like that. But right now, I'm really grateful that it has happened because I'm now in the food industry, and now we're about to close one fundraising round worth millions of US dollars stuff like that. I wouldn't have gone that far if not because of what have happened to me. So I'm a bit believer in karma. I'm a believer being genuine in what you have, being genuine about your profile, your branding, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a business taboo that I strongly believe in actually.
Yeah, fair enough. Law of attraction and karma.
Yeah,
What goes around will come around at the end of it. Now, this is a
exactly.
question I want to throw to all of you. We know that it's a very dog eat dog world out there when it comes to business, especially now with the COVID-19 pandemic. Businesses are having it tough, competition, and for some, they are also traditional brick and mortar businesses are competing with online businesses, and it's not getting any easier for all parties concerned. Now, there's always this saying that you need to have that shark mentality in the business world. You must be able to go in for the kill. If you hesitate, if you are not quick enough or you don't push the limits or cross that proverbial red line, you will end up last. As I say, good guys always finish last. Is that a fair statement that good guys will always finish last in reality? Anyone?
No.
Yes.
Uh,
So
good.
no, they don't. Sorry, Faridah, you first.
No, good girls don't always finish last. I think that's a myth. That's a myth. I go back to what everybody, all the panelists have said, and I'm going to reiterate that in the sense that, if you're going to do business and you're going to be in for the long haul, you have to learn patience. Because yes, I know times are difficult. Everybody is struggling. People feel like the piece of the cake is
Yeah.
shrinking.
Yeah.
But if you're in it for the long haul, you have to take the time to build it. There will be days when, maybe you have to eat Maggi mee, you have to eat noodles. There may be days in which you cannot pay some of your bills. It's not like any of us are talking about that we had it easy all along. I had many days in early days of my business when I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay the bills. But I refused to participate in any kind of this sort of very murky behavior because I did hear again in the training and coaching industry, again, there's a lot of rumors about fees being paid to people. And
Yep.
I absolutely, it was just a red line I would not cross. So I don't think that this whole thing that nice girls finish last, it's not true. I think you just have to be very credible. I also give a lot of credit to a lot of people today that I deal with. I think businesses look for credibility.
Yep.
Ultimately, the way you speak and how you present and how you position and brand speaks volumes about whether you know what you're talking about. It speaks volumes about whether you've done your homework. And that, I think, you have to give a lot of credit to that. And people do.
Fair enough. Tahir?
I'll add to that, and I'll also answer the question Sharwu had asked, which Jimmy did answer, and I'll give a different perspective on that. I believe that literally any industry you are in right now, the marketplace is the marketplace. The marketplace is not based on your circumstances, not based on whoever you are, whatever your financial or otherwise circumstances are. It will reward you or punish you accordingly. With
Yep.
technology and social media, it's getting a lot more transparent. So yes, we do have venture capitalists, eating up a lot of companies, but that percentage over a decade has drastically gone down because we have started moving away from the industrial mentality towards SMEs and many of those businesses that are becoming the backbone of even first world countries, to be honest. So said that, I think if you are an entrepreneur, so that's what Sharwu was asking, is that how do I know that I have the entrepreneurial spirit? Is apart from passion and doing what you need to do, what's important is you go to the marketplace and get grinded because that's the phase one. While entrepreneurship is a cool word, entrepreneurship will not be cool in the next 2 to 5 years. And the reason is because a lot of us will not make it. And that's why it would look like, I don't know, a money game or bad entrepreneurs because of the statistical collapse of the fake ones out there who are like, we spoke about that, fake it till you make it, to the actual ones grinding. So what a lot of people are not talking about, which Faridah just said, is have a long-term view, especially the millennials. Guys, you cannot become a millionaire overnight, start building multi-million dollar businesses overnight. There might be an exception, 0.0001%, but everyone else takes a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades to think long term.
Yep. Well said. I mean, in this day and age, everybody's looking at instant gratification or instant results. I mean, like Jimmy has alluded to earlier, I want $100 million for an online clothing business, which I haven't even started yet. So there you go. Now, taking a step back, looking from a macro level in terms of business. Now, here's a situation that's happening in the world. You have the giant big boys, your Google, your Apple, your Facebook, whereby they are being charged by governments about being anti-competitive because they are obviously taking advantage of all the smaller boys and pressuring them down in that situation. So from your perspective, that's happening in the economy, that's happening in the marketplace right now. Is it okay to let market forces, as Tahir you mentioned just now, let the market decide and let it play out? It'll be like survival of the fittest, or there's some need to have a more level playing field or assistance by maybe a regulator or government or agency or something to that effect.
Can I jump in? I want to.
Yeah, please. Go ahead, Faridah.
Okay. I want to make this point maybe a bit controversial. I'm a very strong believer that government should not get into business.
Okay.
And we've seen it with the Malaysian government getting into various kinds of business.
GLCs and all that,
Yes, the role of the government is to administer. They're not supposed to go and have an unfair advantage by setting up businesses, and then you're competing with people who are private entrepreneurs. So that's the first point I'd like to make. I think the market determines whether your product is good or not. As Tahir alluded to and Jimmy has alluded to, in the end, if no matter how much of publicity you do, if the reviews are bad, people don't like it, they're going to talk about it on social media and your reputation is going to be in tatters. So I like that part of it because it's very transparent. If you're good, you're good. If you're not good, that's it. The market determines. But the government should get out of business.
Okay. Tahir?
So my take is, and this a lot of people may not like it, you don't have to become the next Google. So if Google is big and you have a service and they're willing to buy you for $100 million because you made it that big, we are getting into a world where you would say, yeah, let's shake hands, negotiate your terms and conditions, but let them have it, because you don't have to be the next Google. What are the probabilities of getting there? 0.0001%. So I would encourage the entrepreneurs to become a part of a similar vision of a particular corporate that you are in alignment with. Google is an example. Amazon is another example. Alibaba is another example. So build something unique that you're passionate about. Keep that passion. If someone comes and says, can we be a part of it? Sell it to them and keep some of your, whatever ticks you, whatever drives you in the process of doing that.
But here's the question.
I was wrong, then we wouldn't have had WhatsApp and Skype and everyone else merging in, right? Even though they have their own small shop.
Right. I guess the more pertinent question in this case is not so much Google buying you, but Google coming up with a similar product as you, but undercutting you. Because they know they can suffer the losses, drive you out of business, and then once they are monopolized or dominate the market, then they can increase their prices. So they're trying to drive you out of the market because of their financial strength. So you as a small David and Goliath kind of situation.
No, but the thing is that again, it goes back to the marketplace. If Google is doing that, you cannot compete with Google, Alibaba, Amazon, and all these companies. So what you need to find is what your niche is, stay true to it, and innovate them. Now, someone would look and say, "Oh, I can't outrun Google." Sure, you can't, but then these ideas led to companies like WhatsApp, Skype, and many others that came out there, and many others we don't talk about. So for entrepreneurs, don't be scared that's going to happen, because the probability of that happening is very less. However, when you're in the marketplace, in that area, like if you're in Tamantun or Kuala Lumpur City, just become an expert and then start from that area rather than thinking of the entire planet and being eaten alive. Yeah.
Right. Jimmy, any thoughts on what we have just discussed?
I disagree with Faridah. Basically, I believe some form of government regulation is necessary as a form of check balances against all these businesses, especially giants like Facebook, Amazon, and Alibaba was on. Let's not forget the recent case of Facebook actually has been like selling, or rather like selling some form like a user's information to another third party company. They were using it as a form of data for the elections and stuff like that. Yeah. So those are the kind of things that needs check and balances, because we cannot just rely on these big tech or big giant businesses to regulate themselves, because they don't. All right. If they have a way or means to make more money out of you, to profit from out of you, even though you don't really know it and stuff like that, I think they will do it. So we need some more check balances, but I do believe also in the free market, and I also believe in the power, in the strength of competition, and I also believe in the strength of innovation. Yeah. So for all the entrepreneurs out there, even the business ideas, don't be afraid of the big boys. Don't be afraid of the big businesses and stuff like that. You have a business idea, you have a great product, you can move forward. Yeah, because it's exactly what we're doing right now at Foodie Box Group. Yeah.
Yeah, could
Fantastic.
I clarify, Jimmy? Actually, I was not talking about government regulation of businesses.
Right.
I was talking about governments setting up their own businesses.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, like the GLCs and all that, and then competing and then monopolizing because of the width and the depth of their resources.
Right.
And then,
Right.
you know, in the same area as a smaller entrepreneur may be doing a business in. That's what I mean. Government regulation, absolutely, you do need that.
Yeah, but
Actually, Faridah,
but that's also, I believe that the GSCs are good because they put businesses on their toes. You see, like what's going on in Mars Airlines and Air Asia, right? One is government funded, the other one is the corporate side. So they were competing with one another. So when you have that kind of competition, which is good because they have lower prices and better services and stuff like that. And if you are not, you don't play with the market forces don't really like your client services, I mean, they will lose money and stuff like that. So I do feel some form of GLCs is required to innovate and stuff like that. And there's certain sensitive industry whereby you need some form of government input and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Actually, I'm glad Jimmy brought the Mars and Airlines, the Air Asia, because I was about to bring it up as well. This one I tend to side more with Faridah, because while Mars and Air Asia competes, but when Mars is having problems, they can go to grandfather to get bailed out. As you can see right now, if anything goes wrong, they'll go to grandfather, which is the government. And guess where the government money come from? Taxpayers, like all of us here. Air Asia, and we can see Tony Fernandez, he doesn't have that fortune to be able to have a grandfather to help him out. He has to go to the private sector, got to go to the banks, got to go to the financial institutions to get it. And there's no necessity for them to give him the money unless he can get a good deal out of it. So I guess that's where the concern is, that government, because they're not in it to do business, if anything goes wrong, someone will step in and bail them out. But of course, as what Jimmy says, there are certain industries maybe where it's sensitive, where it's involving defense, where of course they have to take a more proactive sense. Well, time flies. We are almost running out of time. The last few minutes, I'll probably want to throw it to each of you. Which is the one business taboo that you would like to see, that you're seeing happening right now, which you hope that the people or the businesses will rise up to be able to overcome? I'll start with you, Tahir, if you have one. Something that you're seeing right now.
Yes, and it would change country-wise, but generally speaking,
yes,
I think there's
on a positive note.
Yeah, true. So there's a massive inequality when it comes to gender. My heart goes out to the women out there for, if you take the amount of effort, time, energy, there are many more. I can tell you in terms of, if you're from the Western community working in Asia, especially the Middle East, the rules change. But just one thing for me, that would be gender inequality simply because of someone being a woman. I think that's just absolute nonsense that needs to go away.
Well said. Faridah, I think he has already given yours. Maybe you can think of another one.
Yeah, no, I wanted to say that if anybody's thinking about a business idea, I just want to tell, whether it's men or women are the biggest market in the world today, the biggest consumer market. We are bigger than India or China. So this is a market that people are not addressing properly, because women tend to be approached from a very monolithic point of view, either mothers or daughters or sisters, or in that frame. So there's a huge market there. The biggest resource women are looking for is time, because women are decision makers and purchasers for over 80% of what the household buys. This is not just clothes and food. This includes taking care of the children and the elderly as well, because we are the primary caregivers. So women plan for the family's holidays. So we are booking holidays, we are buying the food, we are buying the tech gadgets, we are buying the cars, we are buying the big ticket items, and yet advertisers and marketers are talking to us in a very monolithic language. So I'd like to please encourage people to connect with me on LinkedIn and on Instagram, because I'll be sharing a lot of statistics and data, and we can take this conversation offline. But please look at the women's market and find a niche within that market that you want to tap into, and that's a great business idea, men and women. Yes.
Well said, well said. Jimmy, the last word is from you.
All right. I mean, I'm a great believer of what Tahir has mentioned. I believe that women should be empowered, and I myself, as an entrepreneur investor, I'm also has been like being a mentor to a lot of startups. A few of them are actually women entrepreneurs, and I'm also going to announce right here that we're going to have a virtual pitching session to investors on the 21st of October. So I've given information on 21st of October.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So it's a virtual pitch to a group of investors. It could be seed to pre-seed to or Series A and Series B. So these are investors with deep pockets and stuff like that. So it's done virtually, so you can just do it from home. So I've given the details to Andrea. Hopefully she can provide the details. But at the same time, you can connect to me on LinkedIn. I will be announcing this on my private page as well. So I'm here. The business taboo that I want to make sure that is heard by everyone is the fact that men and women have equal opportunities. And I'm here to make sure that women have opportunities to succeed at the most highest level. Yeah, because my co-founder is a woman, who's also my wife, and we've been working together. We have been working together for 18 years now. Yeah, I can personally see what a woman can do, because she's so talented, and she can, when she focus on something, she can create something which I can't do. So she's the true power of the success behind all of my startups. So I want to give the same opportunities to all the women entrepreneurs out there. All right.
Yeah,
you know what
fantastic.
they say, happy wife, happy life.
Exactly.
Yeah, well said, well said. And the other saying, behind every great man is a great woman. I think in today's day and age, every great man, the woman is beside him, right?
Yes.
On the forefront itself.
Walking together.
Walking together
Obviously.
hand in hand. All right, that's amazing. So many interesting insights, so powerful. We hope all our audience have enjoyed this session today on business taboos. And yes, so conclusion wise, it still pays to do the right thing, follow your heart, follow your morals, follow your ethics, because business is a long game. It's not about instant gratification. It's all not about instant results. It's not about fake it to make it, because end of the day, with the internet, which is also a good game changer and game leveler, everyone will be on the ball in terms of finding out information. So you only have that one chance, so you better make it good. And for Jimmy's pitch, remember, it'll be a good idea to have some proposal rather than saying you want $100 million for an online store which you haven't created yet. So with that, Faridah, Jimmy, Tahir, thank you so much. And on behalf of the Global Online Women Empowerment Summit, we hope you enjoyed this session on Business Taboo. We have many, many more exciting sessions today and tomorrow. Do stay tuned with us. My name is Aria, signing off.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Welcome back, it's Andrea again. Hope you enjoyed this session. I thank you to all the speakers who have been co-creating this panel discussion. And this session has been recorded live, streamed live in 2020 during the very first Global Empowerment Summit. That time we were still Global Women Empowerment Summit. And during this very first summit, we figured out that empowerment is for everyone and we should have everyone as part of the conversation. So we quickly changed our name to Global Empowerment Summit. And we will be coming back every month, bringing you back an insightful panel discussion interview from the past Global Empowerment conferences. And we have been having already more than 500 plus speakers contributing to this compassion project. If you are a speaker, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and visit our website globalempowermenthub.com for more. You can also subscribe to our podcast here on Spotify, and you can also find us on YouTube if you like or prefer video more. So thank you so much for listening. Remember, we empower you so that you can empower others. Join the learning curve, the member path at Global Empowerment Hub, and gain a strong core, get your network rolling, gain resources, build your own resources, and accelerate your impact. This is why we are here. We also support digital transformation on a friendly, supportive way if you want to catch up with everything that is happening all around you. So see you next month, and all the best for you for 2024. I'm Andrea, the leader of this community, and signing off for today with the 365 Empowering Insights podcast.